What's up guys, so the rubber match between Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier is fast approaching, and we're finally starting to get some interviews from both the fighters. And surprisingly, Conor had a sit-down interview with Stephen A. Smith, and dare I say it was actually pretty good. He pressured him with follow-ups and got great answers from McGregor, who got to address some of the criticism he's been facing lately. As always, McGregor was confident, charismatic, but this time he wasn't so kind when speaking about Dustin. He kind of cleared the air about the whole charity situation, saying that it wasn't even supposed to be a UFC event at first. It was just supposed to be a charity event, but then when the UFC got involved, Conor said he'd still help out Dustin's charity. Later on, he made a remark about, the charity even being fake and the money going to support one of Dustin's MMA gyms. So I guess we'll never really know what happened there. Dustin claimed Conor's team kind of ghosted them after the fight, but I don't really care. The money was sent to a charity in the ending, and now it's even more interesting. Conor also talked about how he hasn't seen his family this time around, and I think Usman talked about the same thing last fight, and it makes sense. It's hard to maintain that killer attitude when you have to go back to your family and be warm. And he talked about how resting with his family didn't give him that real rest, since he got to give them a lot of energy. So fair point by Conor here. I don't think he was making an excuse. Seems like he's just in the right mindset that favors him. I never really liked the nice Conor with Cowboy and Dustin. His interviews were just less interesting, and I wasn't as hyped for the fight. We'll see how Dustin's responds to this Conor during the press conference. I don't think he'll let Conor get into his head. Dustin's been saying it since the last fight. He's just matured too much. But one thing that's going to be new for him is all the Irish fans in Las Vegas. Before, his last fight was in Dubai with no crowd. So we'll see how Dustin's going to handle all this noise. Especially getting rocked in a full stadium is a lot different than getting rocked in an empty crowd in Dubai. I think this is something that people overlook with the Conor fight. They're always talking about how his trash talk gets into people's head, and I don't really think it's that. I think it's the crowd. When you hear those Las Vegas fans chanting so loud, it feels like you're in Dublin or something like that. And when Conor rocks you, getting rocked and those fans cheering him on just probably disorients you even that much more. That's why I think, a huge factor in Nate Diaz and Khabib winning the fight was just that they're just built differently, and the crowd doesn't really get to them. Masvidal was fighting Nate. Nate kept getting rocked, and his composure was maintained. He couldn't finish him off. So I think that's a huge factor in Conor McGregor's fights, and I can only imagine with this being maybe one of Conor's last fights, one of the last time the Irish fans are going to get to see him, that they're going to be louder than ever, and that's going to be a lot of pressure on Dustin. So we'll see how he handles that all. So for the predictions, most people are saying that if Conor can't get it done early on, then his chances of winning just decrease as the fight goes on. I don't really take that view. I think Conor can win a decision here. He's changing up a lot. There was a lot of rumors going around about him just being like boxing heavy and preparing for a Pacquiao fight, and then he just confirmed that in his recent interviews that apparently 80% of his camp was just for boxing. We don't know if that's an excuse, but he's just focusing on MMA this time. His boxing coaches aren't even with him in Las Vegas apparently. So what that tells me is he's practicing his kicks and his takedown defense. But specifically, his kicks are going to help him control the distance against Dustin. He has way more power in his legs, but this might open him up to more takedowns. It'll create that distance and make him less vulnerable to the calf kicks if he starts controlling the distance like he used to. The only way I see Dustin winning this fight is if he lulls Conor into exchanges and hits him with that amazing switch stance punch. He actually hit Khabib with that same punch and had him rock for a second, or at least on his back foot. So that's one way I think Dustin can get the better of Conor. Another thing I think he can do well is if he can get Conor to exchange with him in the pocket and then shoot on him when Conor's not expecting it. Because Conor does have great takedown defense. It's just that, if you're not expecting it, you can't really defend it. So those are two things Dustin's going to have to do to win this fight. But if I had to pick one of them, I'm going with Conor McGregor. I'm not even one of his fanboys, but if you like UFC, you have to admit he's one of the best things that's happened to the sport. His interviews are absolutely iconic. He has the best quotes and promotes a fight better than anyone in history, in my opinion. And if he does lose and retires, man, it'll be a sad day for the sport. It'll be sad for his haters even. But Conor said himself he's going to be doing this a long time, as long as his body lets him do it. So let's see how this all plays out. Dana confirmed that the winner will go on to face Charlie Olives, which will be another mega fight. So I'm real excited to see how this shapes up. The entire weekend is actually going to be incredible. We got the NBA Finals, Euro Finals, UFC 264. So make sure you guys subscribe to not miss any news, updates from these events. As always, guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. I will see you on the next one.